Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally underway. Sorry that took a little bit longer than was scheduled, but this is the Hitbox Challenger Face-Off. We are now going into the semi-finals. N Faculty versus Gamers2 into Champion Select. And just as a first forenote, do follow the channel. This is a Hitbox stream. We're trying to bring some league traffic to the platform. And today, it's going to be myself, Spuddington, casting for you with Rapid Casting.
And hopping into this game, we're already in picks and bans. Jace, Leeson, and Lucian banned out, so kind of interesting because you're hitting everybody across the board. You're going to throw a Leeson ban towards Ko. Lucian, probably Yuki's best champion, and Ocelot has had good games on Jace, at least in the previous games. I believe they were playing in Black Monster Cup a few days ago, and he came back with a pretty big Jace game, so some nice target bans, but still a lot left open on the field.
Yeah, Jace actually fits Ocelot down to the ground because he always used to like to play those longer range champions. He used to play a lot of old Nidalee, but what's been done very cleverly there with the bans is that you've got the Lucian banned out of it, so you take away Yuki's two best champions, his Corki and his Lucian. Lucian is definitely his number one. It's always been his number one. It fits his style to a T, but by taking one away and banning out the other one, you kind of force them to play a little bit less aggressive than that Yuki Kasing bot lane would normally like to, because they will be weaker in that early game.
All right, well, speaking of early game, you've already taken Lucian off the board. You picked up Corki if you're... I keep wanting to say UOL because Kikis is there, but N Faculty. So where do you go for early game power there? Well, it's turning out to be more of a Graves lane, and I haven't actually seen Graves at all in North America, so this is almost exclusively a European kind of tech into that because you see Lucian banned so often. So interesting to see the Graves here, but still, I don't know. I still have yet to be sold on it as quite as strong a pick as something like Corki.
Yeah, I think he's very much an equal in the laning phase, but then obviously has some more issues in the later game with the... Obviously, in like a super AoE comp, he can maybe do better than Corki just because his AoE is bigger, but he's not going to output as much sustained damage. He doesn't have the advantage of mixed damage. He is also shorter range and hence easier to shut down if he's doing too well for himself. But, of course, sometimes you have to sacrifice things in order to get the picks you want, and the J4, the coup, pretty solid. Kikis is going to be comfy on that Vi, though.
Oh, definitely. Kikis, really one of the only Vi players there are out there, at least as far as like big bad names, and he will be subbing in here for N Faculty today, so it should be noted right off the bat. Vi into Jarvan is very mobile. You know, you can get in and out of the Cataclysm, so it's not like that's a big barrier, and you actually do go through the Cataclysm with Assault and Battery too, so once again, a lot of ways to make Cataclysm the most useful skill of the game. Sometimes it's just like, well, these are walls, and then you're like, well, these champions can go through the walls, they can just walk through the walls sometimes. We'll see how much of an issue that is. Next two picks for Gamers2 though will probably not include Ocelot's champion. A lot of times G2 like to counter pick that as the last pick in there, which means that we're still looking for a support and top laner for Crixus or JWoww.
I think that would be fairly standard here. Now, it's worth noting that I'm actually being informed, by the way, that Graves is a specific counter to Corki. I mean, we'll see how it works here, but certainly with a lot of poke and the difficulty of trading back against a Graves passive, the Corki can start to struggle in that laning phase. Does have the Nami to keep himself sustained, but we are apparently going to be having a placeholder pick here. Gamers2... they've had... okay, so it's a placeholder pick here. The Kassadin is supposed to be Syndra, but apparently Ocelot's client died and, like, locked onto Kassadin.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's not actually, like, the best placeholder pick because JWoww has played Kassadin top before. So that's what I was expecting. I was like, okay, that's Kassadin top again, and then a Rumble mid, but that doesn't quite work out. So we'll see what Ocelot is actually going to pick, and hopefully they can communicate that in there. For N Faculty, they'll get their last two picks here even still. An Orianna would be the safe way to go, but really liking that Irelia pick top lane into Rumble. That can be a decent matchup, especially if she hits like a nice E10 style power spike. Rumble not very tanky early on.
Yeah, indeed. It fits Zaz's style as well. He's very much a carry top laner, but I think probably the biggest thing to focus on for this game is actually going to be the bot lane. Both of these teams have really aggressive AD carries, really aggressive supports, and they will play to that style. Cedrian and Mountain. Cedrian in particular has this, he is the classic I'm going to Valkyrie in, not out kind of guy. And that can definitely work against him, but up until this point in the tournament, every time he's done it, it's worked out for him, sometimes by the skin of his teeth. And Yuki is just such a generally skilled AD carry. I wonder if he's going to be able to outplay Cedric if he's going for those aggressive all-in ploys.
Yeah, I remember casting Cedrion, and while it is all-in potential, and you're like diving turrets, Valkyrieing in for last hits, while that may not be necessarily the best strategy in game, it's super fun to watch. So it's kind of like a dichotomy. It's like, well, the most strategic way to play League of Legends doesn't involve, all these flashy plays, but they're always super, super cool. And Cedrion is a big proponent of those, especially on his Corki. So that's a big power pick, and that's why they picked it first there for End Faculty. But I think they also have a lot of other strengths out there. They got the ball delivery system with either Aurelia or Vi, and the Nami pick I think is more just for lane, or do you see that really fitting into the team comps, Buddington?
Well, it gives them a respectable amount of disengage here. It gives them, because if you've got the Orianna, the Nami, and some good poke out from the Corki, and Gamers2 is going really, really hard in with the Jarvan and the Rumble to try and get their engage, then maybe you can punish that. But you can always, there were better disengage champions available. Case in point being the Janna, but maybe they needed it for that lane sustain. Whereas the Janna pick is very much the number one, I think we can say, late game support at this point in the current meta. Certainly very, very strong. Not surprised to see that picked out for Gamers2, who already have that lane security from picking themselves the Graves.
All right, that's going to do it for our champion picks and bans. Important to note that the actual mid lane pick for Gamers2, Ocelot picking up a Syndra. Syndra probably, if not one of the top mid lane champions right now, relatively immobile, which can be a weakness, but has an incredibly long range stun, a lot of poke and harass in lane, and a ton of burst when you get a lot of dark orbs out there. So excited to see what he can do on that versus Purefect, who is playing the traditional safe lane. You just AFK farm it out. You don't have to fight your opponent because you have the ball out there to CS. So it'll be interesting to see how Ocelot decides to play this, because no matter how you look at it, the Gamers2 lineup have a ton of burst damage. It's not even just all magic damage, so that's going to be awesome. We're going to actually head over to a quick commercial break. So once again, don't forget to follow the channel. We'll be right back with our first game here between Gamers2 and End Faculty.
Come with me. I'm here once again, and I'm dealing, I'm feeling the pain. So who takes the fall again? Come with me. Come with me.
A summoner has reconnected.
Haha! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I had forgotten something there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are onto the rift. We are into the game. Unfortunately, the game has not progressed very far. 2 seconds, in fact. We are currently on the pause screen, but everyone has loaded up. We are waiting for, I believe, Yuki to reconnect, and then we can get underway with the Hitbox Challenger Face-Off. Gamers2 versus N Faculty. This is going to be a best of 3, I believe. And we will have the first game coming up very, very soon.
Yeah, so welcome. This is going to be our first game. If we can get the game underway, Hitbox Challenger Face-Off, but we actually need the challengers to be able to face off, which requires them to be, of course, in the game. So in the meantime, I am Rapid, with me is Spuddington, and we'll do our best to, you know, put on our top hats and canes and dance around and entertain you guys until they get back in here. G2's having some minor connection issues, so try to get them back in here as well. And once we have all the, you know, the dancing monkeys in a line, we'll be able to turn things back on. It looks like everybody's good to go.
Yeah, looks like it. We've got the ready from Gamers2, and then Faculty certainly don't seem to have been having any problems so far. One would imagine they would still be good to go, and game has been unpaused. So, we are going to be seeing, I would imagine, probably not too much level 1 action here. It's possible that N Faculty might go for something. They've got respectable early damage, and they've got a bit to gain by being able to track Ko, so they may want to get some early vision, get the vision of the enemy buffs at the start. But worth talking about a little bit of the current scene at this point, and noting that both of these teams are going to be in the EU LCS expansion tournament when that rolls around. Shouldn't be too far in the future. I don't believe we even have the dates as of yet.
Yeah, the dates are still a little bit flexible. I believe they are set. They just haven't been announced yet. And the brackets, once again, are not yet seeded either. That is pending a couple of teams who may or may not be playing from the ranked 5s ladders. So still waiting to get complete confirmation. I believe, though, it is confirmed, or it has been confirmed, that Reason Gaming will be playing Gamers2 in the opening rounds, but still, of course, things not officially announced, so no word just yet on that. But both of these teams, like Spuddington said, will be in the EU LCS expansion tournament, so could be coming to an LCS near you.
Yeah, it's possible these two teams could meet in the brackets, and we could think of this as a preview. Certainly going to be interesting to see how their individuals match up, and I'm sure any potential opponents will be watching these games with utmost attention. Certainly right now, though, N Faculty are going to be running with a sub. Kikis is not normally on their lineup, but not a bad sub, I think we can say. Maybe doesn't fit with N Faculty's style. They play quite a cautious, controlling kind of a play style, and Kikis tends to play a bit wild and aggressive sometimes, but certainly individually, mechanically, he's very, very good.
Yeah, Kikis is the guy that's been on more teams than I can count. First time I saw Kikis was when he was playing on Team Cypher way back in the day, if you guys remember that far back. But bottom lane, we got the lane shoving already and a pause.
Oh boy. Are you ready for this? I mean, in fairness, it's not as bad as the last time we had to just bill for ages, because then we were also disconnecting every time it paused.
I was gonna say, yeah, you gotta count your blessings. EUS spectator server apparently back up and running. Remember to freshly oil the servers this morning, so at least we're gonna stay in the game. Looks like N faculty will be attempting to reconnect here, and so it looks like at least the ping issues are spread evenly between everyone. It's not just one team or one person. But I mean, we do have the game like technically starting, so you can see that like junglers are starting on opposite sides of the map, and then here come the disconnects from N faculty restarting everything.
So it's communist DDoSing, affecting all the people equally.
Yeah, it sucks to be the proletariat masses. I'll tell you that much.
I'm surprised you would use such a term to describe the middle class people here sat playing video games. Because it's actually, you'd be surprised, I suppose. There's a lot of diversity, I think you can say, around the players that will play in any tournament, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is not just the bourgeoisie that enjoy playing League of Legends. It is the everyman's game, as evidenced by millions of players everywhere playing it. So certainly glad to be one of them, and glad to be casting this. And faculty, one of my favorite teams from the Challenger Ranked 5s ladder. I've always been a hashtag big fan of theirs, but then they decided to switch things up, and one of the better switches that I've seen pay off has been Zaza's top lane. Like, I have missed seeing that guy. If any of you are tired of going up against the top lane Maokai every single game, you can kind of blame this guy for it. He was one of the biggest, or one of the first, I think the first innovator of top lane Maokai, brought it out in EU LCS, and I think somebody did it less than 24 hours before him in OGN, but then he played it in EU LCS, stopped with it, and everybody's like, wait a second, that's a good champion. So great to see top lane innovator coming back on maybe not necessarily the first pick that you'd go for up in the top lane, but it was either go for Aurelia or go for Maokai, and you don't want to play Maokai into Rumble.
No, you don't. But Aurelia can win out up there. In fact, I would expect that to happen here. I'm not really seeing how JWoww can win out on that matchup. It does happen occasionally that you'll get a Rumble that just goes wild and wins the matchup, even though they shouldn't. But he has like an advantage in the very early levels until like level 5, level 6 period. And maybe if he can get a really good equalizer for a while after that. But eventually Aurelia gets to a point where he cannot 1v1 her. Just cannot. She is too tanky for him to take down and does too much damage for him to tank through. But we are going to have an unpause here. So we'll see how that top lane pans out in the long run here. It's just that it's predisposed to go the way of Zaza.
Alright, so top lane matchup, you can already see he's going to start with his Equilibrium Strike, and versus Rumble, you can either max your Equilibrium Strike and try to force these trades, or you max Heat 10 style, go for a level 5 power spike, and try for the all-in before you both hit level 6. The advantage Aurelia top lane, it's mostly just because Aurelia is like designed to dive on you, fight you, single target damage, and I mean sure, Transcendent Blades is AoE, but you get the idea. Whereas Rumble is more of like this big team fight, area of effect, magic damage dealer, who's not necessarily optimized for 1v1 fights. So I'm excited to watch the top lane matchup. Also, the mid lane, while it shouldn't necessarily be that exciting 1v1, could heat up with both of these jugglers heading to their second camps, looking to gank there later on.
Yeah, both the junglers at the moment taking opposite paths, which is always going to make it a more tempting proposition to go for that gank. They can't tell for a definite where their opponents have started, but it's a pretty reasonable guess that both Vi and Jarvan are probably going to want to start on their blue if they haven't ganked by now for another reason. So, aggression in the bot lane. Level 2 first hit by Kasing and Yuki, but the sustain from Nami means that pretty much even if you do get an advantage in that bot lane, as long as Cedrin can keep up reasonably well on CS, he's not going to fall too far behind, but he has to be careful. He's taking some bad trades here.
Yeah, Yuki and Kasing hit level 2. That's why you saw Graves walk up, buckshot the wave, and Cedrion tried to do the same thing with Phosphorus Bomb, but Graves does shove faster, or more quickly, rather, and Janna just gives him way too much AD early on to be able to trade out effectively. So Gamers2 with an advantage down bottom lane, and actually with JWoww pushing up, Xaxus underneath his turret, at least for the time being, is doing pretty well up there. Junglers haven't impacted any lanes just yet. They are finishing a couple camps before they try to do that, and really mirroring each other at this point, so no action early on.
Yeah, no indeed. Now, a lot of the strength you mentioned before, actually, it is a good point about Faculty's recent history, is that they've been really going quite low here. It is that they picked up the solo laners recently. They picked up both Xaxus and Soz Perfect, so a lot of people level criticism at Ocelot, and it's going to be interesting to see if he, on this lane-dominant bully, can beat out Soz Perfect, who's playing a very safe champion, no doubt, but one way or another, it's likely that Ocelot will have the edge he needs.
Oh, top lane going in. There's the double dive there. JWoww the flash in for first blood. Going over to Xaxus.
Alright, so very nice stuff there, and that is one of the problems with Rumble early. You've got to push in order to get your advantage, but you're so vulnerable early. He's squishy as it happens. A little bit unfortunate there for him, but got his teleport and got his own jungler there, but that's unlikely to result in anything. Xaxus is going to see that.
And to be fair, it was double gap closers and double flashes both burned to take him down, so at the same time, it's really difficult to get out of that regardless of what spot you put yourself in. Ko walked up to the top lane, couldn't find a gank, Bubbles landing bottom, so some really aggressive trades, and surprised to see Cedrion still sticking in this lane, just a testament to how strong that Nami sustain is.
Yeah, but he's struggling, and like I said before, Corki will be the bigger late game problem for his opponents, but that's not going to make much difference if you're building up a CS gap at this rate. 9 CS at 5 minutes is pretty significant. Of course, there's a lot backed up in this wave, so maybe it's not as bad as it seems, but certainly Cedrion looking to... because he's normally the one that goes wild on Faculty and is like a major carrying force for them, but if he's struggling in lane, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Cedrion, definitely the guy to watch. Now, Xaxus can go off and, hard carry the team. I've seen that a couple of times, but bottom lane is a big source of strength for Faculty. Mid lane, Ocelot, at least in their Black Monster Cup games previously, they played versus Faculty, or no, they played versus SK Prime and Rock, and they had some rough games, but one of the things that was always very true about them is that if they had a bad game, they would take a break in between and come back even stronger. So this is a best of 3 series. We'll see how this works out. Perfect mid lane. Gonna get ulted up there. Another flash in from Ocelot. Going big for it. Picks up the first kill of the game for Gamers2.
And they're not done yet with the trade in bot lane.
A nice exhaust there on a Yuki. Cedrion's gonna pop his summoner heal. Yuki might have bitten off a little bit too much there. Couple more auto attacks, but a nice Eye of the Storm. Kasing will keep him alive for now.
And he is holding on to his summoner heal there. You can see he's got the cojones. He's not worried about that potential to go down quickly, but he's gonna want to push out here. He's gonna want to back. Otherwise, he's going to be trapped in a lane with an opponent that will out-sustain him massively over time. So, still the early round on bot lane, going just a little bit in the favor of Gamers2, but we'll see if that is enough, because once Cedrion and Mountain have gone back, they're going to be able to come back in with probably a Sheen on the Corki. Maybe not, actually. No, yes, indeed. He will have either a Sheen or a Phage, which is either going to make him much more difficult to trade with effectively, or it's going to make him just that little bit harder to burst down. Both things that Yuki has been relying on in this early game.
Well, speaking of coming back from lane with from base with a Sheen, that's what Xaxus did top lane to put that early kill gold to use. And speaking of putting early gold kill to use, Ocelot comes back to base with a needlessly large rod.
Yes.
So maybe compensating, but still going to be very, very strong there in the mid lane, 1v1 versus Perfect.
I agree with that choice there. It's a very, very powerful thing, because just raw AP is so good. Kikis!
Well, plus, yeah, if you're a jungler and you try to gank him, you're just gonna die. Shoves him through with a Dark Orb on the back of that Scatter the Weak, and that is Ocelot now 2 kills in his pocket. A rotation mid from Kasing. He was there kind of just for moral support if anything went too wrong.
That was really good by Ko, locking him down, and now with the timing on the back from Corki, meaning he's a decent distance away, they can't easily get there. There's no hope for trying to contest that, and they're just going to have to let that go. Ult used in top.
Whoa, Zaz's took a turret shot there, and he's still going to win out this trade just a little bit thanks to Rumble silencing himself, but I don't know if you all in when you're underneath the turret. Somewhat questionable, trades it relatively evenly, but the first dragon in the game does go to Gamers2 nonetheless.
Yeah, very, very nice for them. Building themselves up a pretty sizable advantage, but I still feel like these lane matchups, if they're left to their own devices, they will eventually turn and Faculty's way. And Yuki actually took a pretty bad trade as they came back from Dragon. Both he and Kasing got split off, and Kasing had to go the whole way around. So that's actually changed the way this lane in bot lane is going to go for a while until Graves can get back to full health. He can't threaten the all-in, which means he then takes worse trades if he tries to trade against Cedrian.
But what do you do if you're in this matchup? Like, you have the extra global gold, but against a quirky Nami that's gonna push. How do you make it back to lane? Do you call your jungler to gank, or do you just try to win the lane matchup? Even though, like you said, they took a little bit of a bad trade.
Yeah, as long as he's just doing the mechanically correct thing, and he walks in, gets shielded by Kasing, goes in for the auto buckshot, auto trades, and then tries to back away. If that's kind of the basic style, then he should win out. But Crixus, it's wow, he's in trouble.
Yeah, and the same combo once again. This time they're gonna blow the ults instead of the flashes. Double ults used, and once again double gap closers. It's a rough lane to be Rumble in. And you'll notice he's trying to build up to a Seeker's Arm Guard that will eventually be a Zanya's, which is the item that he might need to stop that from happening. But in the 1v2, Gamers2 losing it up top once again.
Yeah, and that's the problem for any Rumble player against Irelia. Apart from anything else, if you do fall behind, Irelia, if you fall behind, Irelia will be able to 100-0 you pretty much. If you do fall behind, though, there's no defensive items you can itemize for that will be entirely effective because of the true damage on Irelia. It's you're forced to either get health or armor, and neither one is entirely effective.
Kasing and Yuki keep going for these trades in the bottom lane where they're just like, all right, I'm going to run up, poke you down, and then back off. And Faculty's just like, yeah, we have this champion called Nami, and she's going to heal us, so you can do that as many times as you want. It's just not ever going to really be effective, and that's what's giving Cedrion and Mountain the sustain that they need, the pushing power, to just keep Gamers2 in a bad spot down here. Might be looking for a rotation from Ko and Spartacus, but oh man, Yuki taken down solo from those phosphorus bomb and auto attacker at.
Yeah, a large part of their problem here, though, is that they're also getting caught out by the damage from the rockets.
I guess that's one way to sustain. Big burst in there onto Cedrion, just throwing the kitchen sink at him. Mountain gonna hit a big tidal wave backwards with a teleport coming down from Zazas. Actually really could have turned that around. Nose cones coming in from the backline. Immediate stun in there. But look at Yuki. He's got so much damage. Ocelot from the back. He's gonna grab one kill. Picks up a second off of the ult. And now Zazas getting ignited, but he'll stay alive there in the back. Hickey is just not bottom lane in time.
Yeah, very, very nice there. The basic fact is that Zaz's teleporting in actually caused a problem there for Cedrian and Mountain. They stuck around too long. As a result, they thought maybe they could kill Graves. But the only reason Yuki went in the first place was he knew it would force them to commit. Meaning, of course, then the team shows up from behind. And even had Yuki died, which he did a pretty good job of keeping himself alive there, no way they would have lost out on that trade.
And at this point, Ocelot is absolutely massive. 4 kills, a Deathfire Grasp, and another needlessly large rod. He's like, what are boots? How do I purchase boots? I'm too busy buying needlessly large rods.
You just don't need it. You've got so much AP at this point. Like, no one can tank him.
It's 13 minutes into the game, and he has almost 300 ability power. Ocelot, just a monster right now. Cedrian didn't know what hit him down there. Ocelot just walked down, unleashed his power on him. He went down, and of course, the double kill picked up. It was just a great time to be Ocelot. Now, in a lane that should be relatively, safe and farm-based, Ocelot just taking control.
And that's the style he needs to play, because think about what mobility gives him in this lane matchup. It gives him almost nothing against Orianna. If he's in range to be poked, he will be poked.
Now, Ko versus Kiki is in the jungle. I don't think they're really going to commit to that, just because, I mean, Ko's got Ocelot to back him up. Kikis does win the trade, though. Backs on off for now, but just strategically, I feel like Gamers2, they're winning out these, or at least their mid lane, but they are having some issues in those side lanes with Zaz's starting to pick up kills. He's 3-0 versus the Rumble that really has not a lot to bring back in that matchup.
Yeah, he's going to be struggling for a long time to come, but assuming Ocelot can find an opportunity to roam down Purefect, playing really risky, and he's going to get punished.
Oh man, there's the death
Bye-bye.
grasp. One shot, one kill. Ocelot finding his 5th kill of the game. He has every single kill for Gamers2.
Yeah, he is absolutely monstering them right now. Kikis, I'm not sure I'd do that.
Yeah, Kikis is still gonna go in on that. He has enough damage to kill Ocelot. Whoa!
Okay.
He trades 1 for 1, but he got a 500 gold shutdown on Ocelot.
Yeah, fair play, actually. I didn't think he had the damage there, but you were definitely correct. Does mean he's kind of sacking top tower by having JWoww come in to clean that one up. But, oh sorry, he's building the pressure to get top tower. I'm being really dumb. But they are going to get that mid tower in return. So it's kind of just a trading across the board, opening up the map for both teams.
Yeah, and I think taking down top turret's good because it will allow Xaxis to roam more often, but that should give JWoww a lane that he'll be pretty comfortable with, to sit in and come back if that's what he wants to do. Of course, he can't really freeze the lane as Rumble because he does push it with his Flame Spitter, but at the same time, mid turret is also a really good option to take down. There's the burst onto Cedrian, exhaust coming down as well. Yuki getting slowed though. Will not be able to follow up on that, and Zaz's bottom lane will probably deter them from going too aggressive.
Okay, so dragon fight it's looking like. This is actually Gamers2's battle to win if it happens. They should come out on top every time. They've got the Rumble ult. They've got the Syndra stun. They've got so much catch potential. And Syndra now has boots as well, which does make being aggressive and trying to create a stun and that a little bit more dangerous.
Whoa, JWoww.
Yeah, no.
He was looking for something that wasn't really there. Now it's Coaster, and they're just going all in on this. But maybe need to think a little bit more before going in. Long range engages, but with no follow-up.
No, fair play. They did get the flash in the end, but that has cost them the equalizer, and the Cataclysm, which is a big couple of teamfight ultis. I honestly think in Faculty, they could get an engage.
A perfect flank here by Ko. He's completely missing everything and does not have the Cataclysm from forcing out Purefect's flash. And now Griggs is going in. There's the ball delivery system. But once again, nobody really too keen on going in on this. Gamers2, they're kiting backwards together as a team. Ko gonna re-engage, get a knock-up on him out, and he'll flash back out because does get ignited, but no deaths even still. Stun, DFG, onto Cedrion, getting blown up, but Zaz might actually be the next one to fall down. It's a shutdown there by JWoww. So he'll pick himself up 407 bonus gold there, and a 2 for 0 in favor of Gamers2.
A weird, honestly, ball delivery system. It was just on one person, and that one person was too tanky, so weird stuff. Ocelot not done yet.
Yeah, he's just gonna dunk down onto Purefect, and actually now kick. Wait, okay, Ko's a somewhat questionable position. He's like, I'm gonna go. Oh, just kidding. And so he face planted there.
I think what happened there was that Ko was trying to jump over the wall to disrupt the Vault Breaker, but Kikis was actually trying to jump back over the other way, and he hit Jarvan as he was coming over, which just meant Jarvan died straight up. Kikis didn't have vision. He couldn't have known that Ko was coming over.
Just perfectly timed, and it looks like he just ran into the wall and died. So 5 to 10 now. Gamers2 still aggressive, but look at Zazas. He might have some kill potential there. Definitely does. Using his Transcendent Blades on the minion. Blade surging in, gets the reset and the kill onto Ocelot.
Yeah, Ocelot may be playing a little bit too aggressively. That's twice now we've seen him get caught out in ways he possibly shouldn't. Basically just farming minions and gets dumped on. So, that's going to be towers dropping across the board, but then Faculty are now firmly behind and firmly reliant on Zazas to get themselves an advantage. Kikis, yeah.
Kikis definitely in no man's land. He's gonna get dunked on. It can't get out of the pit there. He's gonna have backup with Zazas coming in, but here comes JWoww. Kasing off to the back line. There's Command Shockwave. He's gonna hit on to JWoww as well. He's overheated. He's got the Flame Spitter. A nice heal there by Kasing, but actually maybe to save Zazas' life. He's going back in and probably doesn't have too much to worry about for getting the kill on Kasing, but Ocelot was coming back, so better safe than sorry.
So I was just about to say what they really need there for Faculty to do well in a given fight, because Zazas is not going to be that amazing in team fights right now. He's not tanky enough yet. So what they needed was for quick fights where it's just like one at a time from both sides going in. One person jumps in, gets killed, but does a lot of damage to the other, and then you got one by one. And then in that environment, Aurelia really hard to kill. She keeps sustaining with her hit end style. She puts out so much damage over time, and yeah, that's then exactly the kind of fight they literally got just after I was trying to start telling people that is what they needed.
They should have listened to you, Spuddington.
Well, Gamers2 clearly are not listening to the stream of the future, because we are actually 3 minutes behind. But they could have listened.
Kick is gonna get caught up, locked down, and there's the unleashed power. I want to say unstoppable power. That is Ryze's ult. But either way, yeah, Ocelot finds the stun and the kill, just walking around one-shotting people. At this point in the game, it's kind of Ocelot versus Zazas. Zaz is 5-1. He's able to one-shot Ocelot. Ocelot kind of able to do that to the rest of his team, though.
Oh, well, I think Ocelot can still probably one-shot Aurelia, too. Maybe not now the Hex Drinker and the Merc Treads are up, but the problem is going to be avoiding the team fights here for Faculty. Now, they are a good team when it comes to using map pressure, but they just don't have the vision, and that's why they've now been flanked. This could be disastrous.
Oh, man. It might be JWoww just going in. Gonna hit a Zonya's Hourglass that he does still have. Command Shockwave, and now Ko is in a lot of problems, but here comes Ocelot. Does need to make sure to hit his skills. Can't quite find them just yet. And a 1-for-0 in favor of Faculty.
And just that little bit too eager to make the fight happen. And JWoww goes down. Zonya not enough to keep him alive. That's what I mean about there being some respectable disengage here on Faculty. But I thought they were going to get collapsed on there. Ko was just not quite able to lock them down for the team. And now they've got control over this upper jungle. They know what Gamers2's next move is going to be, because they know that Gamers2 knows about Cedrian shoving top. I don't know if they want to stick around here, though. It's a risk they could get caught in a fight where Cedrian doesn't have the health.
Well, and Shockwave is down for about 20 more seconds, so do want to avoid team fighting without that big ultimate there for Faculty. And so they will wisely back off, not overextending and pushing their welcome. But they do have, like, I think Purefect has 2,300 gold, and I know Mountain had a bunch of gold there as well. So back to base, spending their gold is going to be a much stronger Faculty that comes back.
That's put them onto a much more even grounds. They're still behind, though. Well, let's make no bones about it. Ocelot is still a huge threat, and JWoww is, he's scaling up. Yuki very much just playing it safe for now, but in fact with the exact same scoreline as his support, so support Graves. But still, at this point, their team fight is the stronger of the two, so all Gamers2 need to do on a strategic level is not let themselves get jerked around by allowing Zazas to apply a lot of map pressure and then forcing two people to be committed there, and just force a fight using their hard engage, but without going quite as deep as we saw there last time. Which
that's
sounds
kind of
simple.
an odd. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, all they need to do is just, out-rotate them and, get more gold and kill them and, things like that. Easier said than done. And this game is actually was not quite as easy in the places that we thought it was going to be. Cedrion, usually the hard carry for End Faculty, but really neither bottom lane has shown up hardly at all. Ocelot, gonna get warded out there. No stun off Scatter the Weak. Flashing the bubble. Ocelot in the 1v3. Probably not a good place to be. Now, Ko's gonna try to come down here and help him out there, but I think he's just dead. But it's still a 2 for 3. Bubble lands onto JWoww. Mountain should be dead here. Yep, getting knocked up, locked up, and there is JWoww for his 5th kill of the game. So a rough lane phase for JWoww, but he'll come out with 5 kills now, and a dragon most likely going the way of Gamers2.
You just can't go toe-to-toe with Gamers2 there. And Faculty, they saw their opportunity and they caught out Ocelot, or so they thought, but then we saw it. We saw the combo. We saw the Cataclysm into the Rumble ultimate, into the Graves ultimate, the collateral damage. That's so much AoE. And there was nothing they could do. 3 people got hit by it. It's a ton of damage. And as a result, Gamers2 once again increase their lead. Might be having some kind of stream issue.
Yeah, it does look like it's fixed now, so apologies for a brief interruption. But at this point, yeah, Gamers2, they're kind of firing on all cylinders. Even their bottom lane, Yuki hasn't been able to pick up a kill just yet, but he is very area of effect, so he's got 9 assists, which is good for gold. And they've gotten a lot of global gold, too. So even though Yuki is 009, he's like 2 kills over 007. But he still has more gold than Cedrion does by about 1,000. Mid lane, of course, is where the big discrepancy is. About a 2,000 gold difference there. Favor of Ocelot.
Wait, is he Trevelyan?
I see what you did there.
But I actually think that was 006. But
wait, really?
I think he was 006, wasn't he?
The lore is lost on me. I just like the movies.
Yeah, I played Gold. I played the Gold Knight game a lot.
I was so bad at that. Oh my goodness. My friends were always like, dude, 1v1 in GoldenEye, bro. And I would just suck every time. Zaz's top lane. Gonna be forced to flash out of that Cataclysm ult. But even still, big summoner cooldown blown. And now Gamers2 are just gonna rotate up there and take the turret. But Pure Effect coming in here might have something to say about that.
Yeah, this team is split here from Gamers2. Kikis couldn't quite catch on to Janna though. That's going to mean no kills here, except maybe Ocelot's.
Whoa, Mountain! Almost just dies from the DFG on top of the equalizer. Now Cedrion's forced to Valkyrie away. The tidal wave used to disengage, and Faculty just aren't saving any tools to come back with. They're using them all to disengage.
And it's worth remembering, actually, of course, DFG doesn't just apply to your own magic damage. It applies to your team's magic damage. So, with being sat, having been hit only by the DFG from Ocelot, that Rumble ultimate was doing even more than it would normally.
Just impressive to me to realize that Rumble had a bad early game. Zaz crushed him in lane, but now coming back, now that it's coming into team fight phase, that's where Rumble shines, and where Zazis has actually been having a little bit of a rough spot. He went 5-1 in lane, and outside of that has pretty much just died. I think he got an assist there once after that too. So, and Faculty, they have built a very, very strong AoE magic damage team comp with Shockwave, with, wait a second.
That's,
yeah, I don't know about that. All right, and Faculty are just like, all right, just kidding, Baron. We're gonna head back out again.
Yeah, so trying to take advantage of Gamers2's potential complacency there. They had actually got some vision there, so when Faculty knew that they could abandon ship, basically. If it looked like that was going tits up, they would have been out in a flash. And, so that's pretty much what they did. Didn't really cost them very much. Maybe a bit of map pressure and minion pressure, giving Gamers2 now a lot of time to clear out. But, it's a relatively low-risk play to a potentially high reward, just not with a high chance of success.
Probably not too high a success. I mean, they could have all-in it, might have gotten it, but they all would have died anyway because it's not a big mystery where people are if it's, 30 minutes into the game and you can't find anyone. So,
you see the entire team clearing away the wards towards Baron Pit, like, one by one, and then they disappear for 20 seconds.
And you start, like, scratching your metaphorical beard, and you're like, I wonder where they could be. Pretty much. So, Ko and Kiki's both clearing out jungle wards. Nobody really clearing Baron at this point, and I'm not really sure what Gamers2 are doing. They're kind of just like milling about. This is where they get fined for loitering around mid lane, because they aren't really going places. Like, Yuki is clearing Wraith Camp, and JWoww's going bottom lane. I don't really know what the big objective here is for Gamers2.
Give them an Asbo. They're just, at
a
the
wall.
moment... I guess you wouldn't. That's a very English reference. It's basically like the police giving you like
a ticket.
Yeah, kind of, but for loitering and being antisocial.
You can get fined for being antisocial.
Yeah, it's literally called an antisocial behavior order. But I don't even know if they still do them. But regardless,
I would have so many fines. Of course, I am from across the pond, so we don't quite do that over here. Gamers2 finally figure out good idea to push turrets, so they'll walk up to mid lane, but I think they're just trying to set up for Ocelot to find a big pick onto somebody, have a 5v4, and then try to win a fight off of that.
Yeah, it's been this very slow push out from Gamers2 for a little while, but they've actually not... Okay, they set up a team fight.
Yeah, but they haven't landed a big stun there from Ocelot. Xaxus is pretty tanky in the front of that, and Ko, the one to start the fight, he is going to have to be the first one out of it, down to about only, 600 HP.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that Gamers2, they seem to not quite get how to do, a timed push. With their 5-on-5 comp, they can win in a 5-on-5. So they push in on a tower at the same time as creating some minion pressure elsewhere. They haven't created a slow push wave before they went for that 5-on-5. So they were forced to kind of go quite deep. And honestly, I think this here is an empty threat from Gamers2. They're not going to go for that Baron, and then Faculty could have called that because they know Ko was forced out of the fight.
Yeah, now actually, pick on the kick is gonna get the ult off on Rumble, but he'll have his Zanya's Hourglass, and still an equalizer left to come down here in the fight. Ko, still very low. He's gonna be forced to get out of there, but it's Pure Effect finding a kill on a JWoww. So a 1-for-1 trade. Now, Ocelot gonna get bubbled up and taken down over the wall from Cedrion. A flash in there, and a Summoner heal barely saves Ko's life. Zaz is still looking for the time. Big damage from the back line, Cedrion. Coming up big with a double kill. Now 14-17. The kills don't matter. It's about what you do with them. And off the back of that, and Faculty coming back, and pushing up the mid lane, looking for a back base turret.
But okay, yeah, that was
so good in my head.
It just sounds things out. but anyway, even so, right, Xaxus, I don't see them jumping on for that, 3 versus 4 there. But yeah, you're right. It really doesn't matter how the game has been going up till this point. If you're gonna go for something like that and just allow yourselves to get bursted out, because it was working fine. They got that first pick on Kickers. He's squishy. Ocelot can destroy him instantly. But if you're not then going to take an advantaged fight, don't keep going. Just accept that you've only got that 300 gold, that's your benefit, and back off and wait for something else to come up. They tried too hard to force it, and then Ocelot went too far forward and got caught out as a result, bursted out, and then suddenly Gamers2 really lacked for damage.
Yeah, credit to Mountain for landing that big bubble onto Ocelot. The follow-up kill was Cedrion, but if you hadn't bubbled Ocelot, he might have been able to just turn around and one-shot the Corki. So, not sure why Ocelot is way down here with Ko. They're doing a secret mission for red buff. But then Faculty know what objectives they're working for. They're going straight towards that Baron.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to be a little bit leery of this one. Gamers2 had a lot of warning. These wards in the lower jungle give them that edge. Looks like Gamers2 are going to get the inner
Wait,
tower
what
here.
are Faculty doing? They're either going to get Okay, they might have been looking for like a flank slash Baron. Now, oh, a bubble there on Nico. Chunking him down, about a third of his HP is gone. But Gamers2 are in a really great position to just push down mid lane or look for a flank here.
They're going to have to deal with super minions if they want to do that, though. Means they can't really leave mid lane unless they can get a fight guaranteed. But now, of course, the only turret in mid lane is that inhib tower. So they're faced with some difficult decisions, and they're going to back out, go to bot lane by the looks of the pings. And Faculty, however, they know that they can threaten the Baron. They know that they can just threaten mid, and they will win in a base race, which means Gamers2 can't take that race. They're going to be forced to ignore that big bottom blue wave, and now the Baron threat and the slow push wave in bot lane is creating a dual threat for Gamers2.
And Faculty don't even really need to sweep this. They can show that they're Baroning and really force Gamers2 into a rough situation. A big minion wave. That minion wave will take the turret if it keeps pushing up. That turret is down to like 1,000 hit points. And so all Faculty have to do is just sit on Baron, force Gamers2 into a rough spot. Not sure where Kikis was going there, but yeah, and just clear things out. There are no, there's one ward, very key, outside the pit, and more coming in from Kasing. So Gamers2, they know what they have to do, like defend the mid lane from the super minion push, but somebody's gonna have to go bottom.
Yep, that's gonna be a tower. It's straight up will. That minion wave is enormous, and that is the kind of thing you create with just pure map pressure. There was no fighting there. They just knew that by creating that situation, it forced a lose-lose onto Gamers2. And, you know, it's maybe arguably is the lesser of two evils, but here comes the Baron play, because they still had to deal with that. They've got TP on Rumble, and you don't want to get caught in the Baron pit against this kind of comp from G2. But even so, there's still potential for catches.
And at this point, Faculty have had control of the Baron pit for over 3 minutes, so that they know even if they did miss wards, it's completely clear, with the exception of your wards over the wall. And so Mountain clearing out pretty much the last vision in the area. More wards over the wall there from Ko. Gamers2 doing a good job of just keeping track of Faculty. Oh, Cedrian with a nice Valkyrie out. Avoids the stun there from Ocelot, which would have certainly been his death.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, big equalizer coming out. Now Zaz's and Kiki's gonna get caught. They're actually both incredibly tanky. Got the damage from the backline. Cedrian is zoned out of the fight. Purefect needs to get in there with a shockwave, but they just can't get into the fight in time. Immediate Zonya's there from JWoww, maybe a little bit early, but neither one of Faculty's carries did hardly any damage that fight.
Yeah, honestly, to my mind, that was a little bit surprising. I was expecting it to go better for Gamers2 than it did. Because of the Rumble ult in that environment, that could have been so huge. It did do a lot to zone people out, but I guess I underestimated the fact that Yuki was not really very present in that fight either. So they didn't have the follow-up damage to finish off anyone from Faculty. So, very much just a body blow to Gamers2 there. They did lose out maybe very slightly, but they got some control over this Baron pit. I'm not going to complain. And Faculty, by the way, they are running 4 separate sweepers here, but I still think they would probably do well to have at least one upgraded sweeper. Pinks can only control one brush, and you can only sweep a given single brush with a single sweeper. This, however, is going to be theirs on the grounds that they just rushed it.
Yeah, I feel like that was what Gamers2 are like really hoping they wouldn't do all game long. They're just like, well, if they go for Baron right now, it'll be really bad for us. And they thought that so many times, and eventually it just happened. And Faculty, they took the inhibitor off the first big push. They waited things out patiently at Baron, and even though they actually lost the fight there, they came back to it, and like you said, just rushed it down. First Baron of the game will be theirs at 36 minutes.
What were they behind before? 6-7k behind? It's fun to watch a team come back from that kind of deficit with really comparatively little team fighting. It's not like they've gotten a fantastic Orianna shockwave on 5 people and decimated them with AoE or anything like that. They've just been playing the map, controlling the objectives, controlling the vision, and yeah, sacrificing something small like a blue buff here or there, but maybe sacrificing pure effect.
Whoa, yeah, he is in a terrible spot. Will flash out, does have a shockwave on himself, and he'll keep himself actually really healthy. Look at Kikis, he's up in the front, he absorbed Ocelot's entire burst combo. and didn't die. So attempt there to pick up another kill by Yuki, but he is not strong enough. And now Kasing might be the one caught out, but he'll make it out alive. And at the end of it all, nobody dies, but still, oh, Kikis. Okay, man, you are not very tanky. He does have Baron buff regen though, so should still be able to stay in this fight. Wow, that is a long-range engage. I believe Cedrian flashed in there. Zazas was flashing in. He was able to actually find a kill there onto JWoww, and this will actually be the second kill on the mid inhibitor for N-Faculty.
Yeah, and again, very nicely done. But the weird thing here is that N-Faculty are just outsmarting Gamers2 on several levels. I mean, that time there, that was a little bit fortunate, but arguably also a bit of a bait, because Soz Perfect had his Zhonya's, he waited it out, he had his flash as well, and Gamers2 could have known that. They could have kept track of that fact, simply because it's been so long since the last fight. They could assume he would have it. But they still went for that big engage, and Ko keeps going very, very, very deep, and it's costing them.
Well, for right now, what was strong for Gamers2 in Ocelot, having a million kills early on, has started to be a little bit riskier. His positioning on Syndra late game is going to be very, very important. Really has not looked super good. Then again, Purefect's positioning has been pretty rough too, as far as the Zhonya's after walking into 5 people. Now Gamers2 looking for the disengage, but catching out onto Kasing. There's a 2-man tidal wave, and there's the one shot onto Ocelot. He didn't even get a chance to ult. Now Kasing is gonna die. Yuki versus Cedrion in the 1v1. He missed the rocket. He's got the follow-up there. Purefect just gonna follow into the brush. Couple auto attacks down, and he'll find the kill onto Yuki. With 3 dead here for Gamers2. Can they stop this from being at least another inhibitor?
I very much doubt it, but that's not the objective N-Faculty have set their eyes on. They are going down the middle lane, and there is no inhib here. GG called by Yuki. I've got to agree with him.
There's 30 seconds left until Yuki's up. 20 for Spartacus, aka Ocelot. With these Nexus turrets dropping, it's up to JWoww and Ko to try to stop this base from going down. Still 10 seconds until Ocelot's back up, and the Nexus is dead. Gamers2. They get picked at Baron and lose the game off of that 40 minutes in. And at the end of it all, N-Faculty finally come back in gold. I think it was the first time that they had been ahead in gold all game long. Came at 40 minutes and right when they needed it.
Several issues there for Gamers2, and part of it honestly lies in the form of Yuki. I am not sure about that Graves pick. He did not dominate the lane nearly strongly enough with it. Maybe with something like a Sonar as his support, so he'd have more poke, more heals. Maybe then he could have won out on that one. But as it stands, not a fan. Regardless, though, guys, we're going to be going into a quick break, and I think we might pop back in for like a quick analysis segment, like while we're waiting for the lobby to get going. But for now, gonna go into a quick break, so we'll be right back. Welcome back.